him. We all have been really eagerly waiting for you, Brother Yogesh, because you have been extremely busy with many other commitments, I know, but you are committed today. Thanks a lot. And also, he's joining from Turkey. It's now Turkey, no more it's Turkey. So I think apologies, we should just start writing it that way. And you all know him very well, but we have a few newcomers all the time. So he was born in Malawi, Africa, and very much an Indian background, and brought up in London and Oxford. And he has been, what I must say, a perfect facilitator and also a personal developmental trainer for over the last 20, 25 years. Has committed a lot of talks and a lot of workshops, and also at many organizations. The list is endless. I won't be going in that. And finally, what he says that his training comes from his training at Gyan Sarovar, which is the Academy for a Better World in Mount Abu, India. All of you know that. And also the Global Retreat Center in Oxford. And as we speak in the next, I think the next Sunday, 23rd of July, the GRC, Global Retreat Center, will be re-inaugurated in a very grand way. So we are looking forward to that. So his training comes from both these places. And yes, as always, a poem for him. You have to bear with me, Brother Yogesh. So Brother Yogesh is the one who always strives to commit. That's because he facilitates with a lot of humor and wit. You'll experience that. By practicing Raj Yoga, he keeps himself spiritually fit, exuding the pure vibrations which he is able to transmit. He says, let the negative thinking from your mind take a permanent quit so that we can enjoy a life in unison without having any split. The mistakes from the past in our life, can we admit? Only then can we be able to remove them and omit. People say for each one of us, our destiny is already writ, and that we have to play a hero part like performing a skit, so that each one of us can earn in our karmic account to be able to remit and earn a lot of blessings and good wishes in each one's ambit. So with these few words and the poem, I will set it to you. All the stages first. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj Bhai. All I can say is, kya baat hai. It is impossible to follow such a great presentation. You really should do this right at the end when, people leave on a high note. So thanks again for all the efforts the entire team is making to continue all these values events. And thanks for having me back once again. And I listened to just a little of the summary of last week's sharing. And I was wondering, what more can I add? Because you had a double Eric sandwich, which is very rich, nutritious. So what more can I say? Well, I began to just reflect upon my own experiences and relationship with this word commitment. So I'll just share what comes to mind from my own experiences. And it's one of those words which you can apply in different contexts. Generally speaking, if you ask a person, how do you understand commitment? What is commitment to you? Then they tend to default to commitment in a relationship, commitment to a person, commitment in a marriage. And then they begin to speak about what that really means, a committed person in a marriage. But of course, there is much more to commitment than simply this. There can also be commitment to an organization, commitment to a club, commitment to a team, where a team player may, for example, sign a long-term contract, 5-year or a 10-year contract, and says, I commit myself to this team I choose to give the next 5 or 10 years of my life for the success of the team. And then there is also commitment to a cause. And that's the one which particularly interests me. And if we look over history, we can find that people who did great things for their countries were committed to a cause. They believed in a cause, and they were prepared to withstand personal hardships in order to achieve perhaps independence or freedom for their nation, because they had a great sense of commitment. They were even prepared to perhaps give up their own life in order to achieve that goal. And so the two words come to mind, which I feel are big components of commitment. One of those is discipline, and the other is sacrifice. One reason why an individual may avoid commitment, may avoid signing on the dotted line, as it were, is because they are not prepared to make certain sacrifices. But yet, whether it's in personal success in your work, or creating a pleasant environment for your family, or even indeed on the spiritual journey, sacrifice is the partner of ambition. If you have an ambition to achieve anything, then a sacrifice has to be there as well. If you want something new, you have to let go of something old. That's just the way it is. That's the principle. That's the law. Now, we can see this, for example, in elite sports. Let's say somebody wants to be an elite sports person, a top tennis player, or an athlete who wants to win the gold medal in the Olympics. So the coach, the trainer, will tell that sports person, here is what you need to do. You need to give up eating this, that, the other, the things you like to eat. You have to give up perhaps late nights. You have to wake up time, give up your sleep. You have to practice these many hours every day. And so a huge sacrifice is involved. And there may be 10 people initially who say, I want to be the best. But when the coach places the conditions in front of those 10 people, 5 immediately say, it's too much. I can't do that. It's too much. 3 say, okay, let me try. Let me see how it goes. I'm going to give it my best shot. And they give up after a while. Then only 2 say, whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. And only 1 actually continues and completes and becomes the champion. And so it takes giving up, sacrificing your comforts, your pleasures in order to reach the goal. And it's a measure of your commitment to your aim. How committed are you really is visible when the chips are down, when the obstacles come, when the challenges come. Do I allow them to stop me, to divert me, to take me back to my comfort zone? Or do I keep going because my aim is clear to me? What helps us to generate this energy of commitment is clarity about, why am I doing this? How clear am I about my reasons for doing this, whatever that doing may be? Now, it's also possible that as we move on our journey towards reaching our aim, we can get distracted. And it is for this reason that to maintain commitment, it is important to revise our reasons. This is why I am doing this. Because it takes you to the very DNA of your soul. Makes you aware once again, this is why I have chosen to move in this direction. Let's have a look at what comfort zone means and why we choose to stay in the comfort zone and therefore avoid commitment. Well, a comfort zone is a place where you feel at ease, you feel relaxed, it's familiar. It's a place where you can stay for a long time. And in order to step out of the comfort zone, we have to be able to face the fear. I'd like to show one or two slides to help me to explain this. So let me see if I can just share screen here. All right, so here we are. I think you can see that. Let's just have a look at this one first. So here we are, comfort zone. You feel safe, you're in control, everything is hunky-dory, everything is just fine. And why we like to stay there, it's because outside of that comfort zone is the fear zone. Fear means anxiety, nervousness, tension, and who likes to feel that anyway? No one. So what's happening is when we step into the fear zone, then we may find excuses to run back into the comfort zone. We may allow ourselves to be easily convinced by other people that this is not a good idea. You cannot do this. Why do you push yourself so much? And we can even be convinced by our own selves that, yeah, let me be more comfortable. And so we are very good in finding creative excuses to withdraw and return to the comfort zone. We also lack confidence in what we do. And so majority of people, let's say 90% of people, will experience the fear zone and say, nope, not for me, and they return to the comfort zone. But if we have the conviction, the focus, the courage to pass through the fear zone, knowing that this is a temporary transit phase, then we enter into zone 3, which is the learning zone. And there, it's as though your wings really begin to open. You're acquiring new skills to be able to do what you previously could not do. You find that the tricks, the tips, the techniques to be able to deal with challenges and problems, and you are no longer afraid of them. In other words, your comfort zone is expanding. What was previously uncomfortable is now comfortable. You can manage it because you have grown and you have developed new skills. As you continue to move in that direction, you then enter into what is shown here as the growth zone, or I would call it rather the thriving zone. This is where, like, your wings are fully open. You have found your raison d'etre. You're living your dream. You found your purpose. You've conquered, reached your objectives, and actually you're able then to set new goals to aim higher. And that's where you're living. If you stay in the comfort zone, you are existing, But when you're in the thriving or the growth zone, then you're actually living and you feel good about yourself. So in order to reach that, to step out of that comfort zone, there needs to be some focus and commitment. This is the direction that I want to go in. Now, there's another side to this. I was thinking, what's the other side of the comfort zone? What happens if you stay too long in the comfort zone? Well, I would say if we were to extend this diagram towards the left, then staying too long in the comfort zone takes you into the complacency zone. And complacency zone is where, you begin to take things for granted. You think, well, everything is going to be fine and there's no reason to do too much. Situations and circumstances will be okay. Nothing's going to really bother me. You take things for granted and you allow yourself to be convinced that there's no need to exert yourself too much. And then after the complacency zone, the next zone, I would say, would be the laziness and carelessness zone. And so that really is where, I am choosing to put my responsibilities to one side. I am choosing to avoid doing what I know should be done. And in fact, I start doing things which are detrimental to me. And then the final zone on the negative side, I would call that as the stagnation zone. Stagnation zone is literally where you begin to rot. That is where your potentials, your energy, your talents, your capability, your uniqueness simply stagnates and rots and decays. And so that's the price of staying too long in the comfort zone, is you reach that stage. And then, of course, you feel very frustrated with yourself because you're not living. You feel you've wasted time, wasted opportunities, wasted talent. And then there is a detrimental relationship with the self. So we have a choice. Where do we wish to go? And I think for all of us here on these talks, we want to reach the best within ourselves. And that's why we explore values. We explain today, the commitment is very much a part of being able to reach that stage where you are at full expression of who you are. One needs to be very clear and focused in order to be able to reach the goal. And especially in the current day, where there are so many attractions and distractions, it's possible for the energy of the mind to be pulled away. And so what happens there is we get defocused. Where we're defocused, then our plans and our ideas remain exactly that. So let's see if I can show you another image here. So here is an individual who has a lot of ideas about what he or she would like to do. So, each of these arrows represents an idea, some kind of plan. And he says, well, I want to change my life. I want to be more useful. I want to achieve certain things. I want to feel I'm living a meaningful life. And so I want, for example, I'll get some new qualifications. I'll do some evening course. Another one, maybe I'll learn to drive or I'll get a new car. Another one, perhaps I will learn a new language. Another one, I should think about maybe, changing my job or changing department in my organization. Another one could represent just need to get a new group of friends in my life, be in a different soil to bring a new kind of growth within me. So on and so forth, lots and lots of different ideas. And 6 months later, when you meet this individual again, he or she will still have lots and lots of good ideas, but none of them will become practical. And that's because the energy of this person's mind is going in all different directions. So what to do? What does this person need in order to actually make these ideas practical? It needs some commitment to one idea. And that means saying yes to something and therefore also saying no to lots of other things. Now, generally, it is found that we want to say a big yes to something and many small yeses to lots of other things. But those small yeses then simply waste our time and our energy and can even take us in the reverse direction to which we want to go to. So once again, underlining the importance of letting go and making the sacrifice. And that's what really makes the difference between people who reach the goal and people who think it would be nice to be there. I remember when I used to work in London and in Oxford, I was working for a while, and I would hear my colleagues often saying, I really don't like this job and I hate this job and I really should get a new job. But you would hear this month after month after month, in fact, year after year. And sometimes we would say, well, you have an option here. The option is quit, find another job. But few people would actually do that. And the reason was that there was something which was keeping them there, which was easier than making the effort to actually find another job. In other words, a trade-off was taking place. And this makes us aware that at every single moment, each one of us is making a choice. And this is like, for me, a big realization for me personally, that at every moment, wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, it's my choice. Now, some choices that we make are active and overt choices, but the majority of choices we make are passive or are covert. I'm making a choice on an emotional level, on an energetical level, without even realizing it. And it's those choices which are keeping me in the same set of circumstances, maintaining certain dynamics with people because I am simply choosing to be there. Now, why would we choose that rather than to commit to really bringing some positive change in our lives? And that's because to commit takes work. To commit takes letting go. To commit takes giving up and making sacrifices. Most people don't want to do that, or they will kick the can down the road and say, when I'm ready, I'll do that. Important to say, if that is where I find myself, then I should also accept it. If I feel I am not ready to commit to something, I first need to accept it by myself that At the moment, I feel I'm not ready to commit, and then be at peace with myself. The worst thing is to feel I'm not ready, but another part of me is telling me, you should, and then allowing myself to be influenced by others. If I don't want to do something, I have to talk to myself and come to that point of realization that I choose not to do this, but I'm choosing something else. I firmly subscribe to the view that your life is a reflection of the answer that you are giving to the question, what do I want? Whatever I want, whatever I truly consider to be important and valuable, it is going to manifest in how I use my time and my energy. Energy management, time management is a reflection of my values management. What do I value in my life? And I think this is really the beginning of any kind of personal growth for an individual when they are honest with themselves. Self-honesty is the springboard to launch me into the next phase of my personal evolution. And one of the most powerful questions to ask the self in this context is this very simple question: what do I really want? Now, the answer to that may not come straight away, but it's worth reflecting upon it, pondering upon that question, just placing it into your intellect and allowing it to percolate. And then just writing down the thoughts which come. What do I really want? And then maybe a little while later, you just look at the things you've written and you add things to it as they pop into your mind. And then I think you would see a pattern forming, and it becomes clear to you, this is the direction that I want to go in. This is the direction I feel is right for me. And hence, a natural sense of commitment arises when you know what you really want in your heart. And there, it's not a forced or a pressurized situation, but it's like your passion. Your passion is arising from within you. And externally, people feel, wow, this person is really committed to this task, this project, this cause, because it's coming from the DNA of your soul. What happens then is you begin to look a little like this. So this is that same person who before had all these different ideas, but they were all dreams. He was a bit of a visionary. He was a dreamer, and he was not the only one. But here's the same fellow who's now racing very fast in the direction that he or she wants to go in. And so you can see all of these small arrows have now been magnetized and are all facing one direction. So whether it's the new language or the evening course he has done, or the new car, the new friends, the new job, all are going in one direction. And the reason for this is because this one big arrow, which is passing through him or her, it is this one big arrow which has magnetized every other part of this individual's life. And that's commitment. Every single thing within me, all of the different energies within me are now going in the same direction. And through that, you achieve progress. Now, what is that one big arrow? Well, that one big arrow represents focus, a focused mind. And what is behind being focused is being very clear about why you want to do whatever you are doing. Why are you in it? What's in it for you? What is your reason for doing whatever you're doing? If that clarity is there, then automatically a sense of focus emerges. And when your mind is focused, this really is the basis of overcoming the obstacles, the obstructions, the distractions which will come in your way. There's a very nice saying which I like, and that is that success respects focus more than it respects intelligence. So there are many so-called intelligent people out there in terms of IQ, but they're not successful simply because their minds are not focused. Too many options, too many ideas. And conversely, there are people who are less intelligent in terms of IQ, but because they're focused, they're able to be more successful, reach their aims and reach their goals. And so this brings us back to this whole idea of understanding what's going on in your heart. Do a little open heart surgery, check within yourself and see what is happening there, to identify what is at the core of your heart and keep that in front of you to motivate you and bring about this energy of. Let me just touch on one or two more things. And this is about how do you get commitment from other people? So for example, if you're a team leader, doesn't have to be at work, could be for anything you're doing, the group of people. One of the things that we all want is we want people to be committed to the task, to the project, to whatever we may be doing as a group of people. But you can't get commitment from people by saying, I need you to be more committed. That can work for a short time, but then after a while, again, it'll be a lot of hard work to try and push people to raise their level of commitment. But there's a nice formula. I plus R equals C. What does that stand for? So involvement plus responsibility brings commitment. So if I involve others in, for example, a decision-making process, there'll be a natural sense of commitment arising in them. But if I myself make all the plans, if I do the head work and say, here you are, do this, be committed, then he or she will feel, well, that's his baby, that's his task and I'm doing it for him. So their commitment, their motivation may reduce. But if I involve others and say, okay, let's get together now, here is something we need to do. What should we do? What are your ideas? How can we handle this? It could even be for a family, just the family is planning to go somewhere. How should we go? When should we go? What are your thoughts? So naturally, involving others makes them feel valued, makes them feel important, and makes them feel that their opinion matters. Plus, sharing responsibility. Not just giving them a sense of responsibility, but actually handing over some responsibility. You're in charge of this part. You take care of this, you handle that. So when there's shared responsibilities, then naturally, again, a sense of commitment arises. And those of you who are parents, probably have experienced this already, that how to get commitment, focus, and discipline from a child is to know how to bring them into an appropriate area of responsibility. And I'm remembering when I was at junior school in the east of London, I remember one very, very smart teacher, the way he would deal with unruly kids. There was one particular boy who was quite disruptive. He had a lot of energy, he just couldn't handle his energy. So quite disruptive during the class and making noise and disturbing the other kids. And so I was surprised that this teacher gave him an important responsibility. If something like handling opening the door, closing the door, carrying certain things. And I saw how that kid transformed by taking responsibility. Now, he had a lot of energy. He had a lot of, ability in him, but simply he did not know how to channel it. The teacher knew how to involve him in responsibility, and that energy became very productive and constructive. And I think it's the same thing that we also have to do with our own minds. If the mind is unruly and disruptive, it needs to be given some sense of responsibility so that it moves in the right direction. And therefore, commitment arises. So involvement plus responsibility and creates commitment or entices a sense of commitment. Second little formula, just to wrap up, is another quality which I think is very similar to commitment. Perhaps we could describe it as the first cousin of commitment, and that is loyalty. And again, for those of us who work with others, we want people to be loyal to the team. We want loyal workers. We want those who'll be with us, whether we pass through thick or through thin, whether we are sailing through the sunny days, the clear days, or whether we're passing through storms. We want loyalty also in our relationships. Think of how many people you know who really you feel are good friends. Probably count them on the fingers of one hand, but people are loyal to you, with whom you can also share your secrets. But how to get loyalty? Again, it doesn't happen by demanding it. I need you to be loyal to me. But the formula is T plus R equals L. That stands for trust plus respect equals loyalty. So if I show somebody a real sense of trust, if they feel trusted, and if I genuinely respect that individual, then they will be loyal to whatever I am doing, whatever we are doing together. Loyalty has to be earned. It cannot be demanded, cannot be manufactured. And so to be able to do that, to genuinely enable someone to feel trusted and to feel respected, I need a high level of personal dignity. I need a lot of self-respect. I need many spiritual tools to be able to overcome my own insecurities, which are all ego-based emotions. So hence the inner work, doing this inner work of reaching a place of emotional security, then enables me to really trust others and to respect them as individuals, to go beyond their job titles or their roles, to see the person who is behind the mask, behind the roles. And therefore, loyalty emerges and commitment emerges from people who are around us. So just to round off, in essence, as I think we always say in these studies and talks, the first step in generating or emerging any values is having a good self relationship, checking my own self. How do I feel about myself? Do I talk to myself? Do I listen to myself? Do I accept myself? Do I encourage myself? Keeping that going, keeping the positive, constructive, productive self-dialogue going. And the result of that is we can use situations as opportunities to grow. Every single day there are lessons all around us. But it's only if I have the awareness of being a student that I'll be able to see those lessons and see the opportunity for enhancing the values in my own heart and also in my own life. So not entirely sure when I should stop speaking, but I'll take a chance and just invite Manoj Bhai in to come and guide me here.
Okay. So thank you so much. Just busy writing down the formula which you mentioned. It was fantastic as always. I plus R is equal to C, and also about loyalty, as you mentioned. And yeah, it's beautiful that loyalty and commitment are so interrelated. I think you rightly said they are cousins of each other. Well, we have a cardiac surgeon with us who's joined. A very practical question, Brother Yogesh, is like he says he loves all these talks and workshops and loves to attend, which sometimes he doesn't get time to actually, because he's busy operating, doing all heart surgeries, which really take a long, long time, not just a 1 or 2 hour, but like 7, 8 hours continuous surgeries. So he says, I have a lot of Lokik commitments. I really want to do meditation. Can you please help me how to find time for my spiritual commitment for the self among my
Yeah.
busy?
Sorry, what's the last sentence?
Sorry, it was among my busy schedule. How do I fit
Yeah.
in?
Yeah, I mean, the work that he is doing is, of course, very intricate, and he needs to be very alert and pay full attention to that. It's difficult to find time during the day if you have such a busy schedule. And so what we would recommend is if you can find a few minutes at the beginning of the day to start your meditation. Now, that may mean giving up 10 minutes of your sleep. It may mean cutting out a little something from your schedule. But this is the secret, that if you can start the day with a little bit of meditation, then it's a peace meal. It's like you are feeding your mind with a deep peace experience first thing in the morning. And the science tells us that whatever you experience in the morning is going to stay with you for the whole day. If you have an experience of peace and stability first thing in the morning, as you pass through the day, when challenges, difficulties, problems come, you'll feel the impact of the morning meditation, keeping your mind more stable, keeping your emotions more cool, and your sense of alertness would also be high. And one reason we get tired, one reason, it's not the only reason, one reason we get tired is because we get pulled into what we call as action consciousness. We get lost in the actions we are doing. And so the mind gets just drained of energy. But if I'm able to maintain that state of self-awareness through the day, based on the morning meditation, then our karma, our action, becomes what we call as karma yoga. So you're doing the action, you're doing your job, but at the same time, your consciousness is light, is more free, your thinking is more clear. This takes practice, of course. And personally, I always recommend to people that if it's new for you, start with some baby steps. Start with a little bit, but do it regularly every single day. Experiment for 1 week and just see how you feel as you pass through the day. Second thing, just to add, is then how to finish the day properly. Now, this is another astounding thing, that how we've forgotten how to wake up and how to go to sleep, especially in the big cities. So it's very important to put the day behind you and to allow the mind to become free from the thoughts and the emotions of the day. So one way to do that is, again, a very simple meditation. Even if it's 5 minutes, 4 minutes, just consider the whole day to have been one big theater performance. And for today, the curtain has come down. You multiply everything by 0. Just allow the thoughts of the mind to come out. Let the mind be light, let it be easy. Then go to sleep in that peaceful state. And the sleep is also much more deep and restful when the mind has been put to sleep in this way. So I would recommend these two things.
Right, wonderful. And in the interest of time, I'll just take last one more question. As you rightly said, it's one of the saying as well that commitment is not really a word, it is an act. And it is what transforms a promise into a reality. So that is what commitment is. So do you want to share some or throw some light on this? That commitment is what transforms a promise into a reality.
Yeah, I think another way of saying it, or the way I would say it, is that you need that that sense of focus to allow the rubber to meet the road, as it were, for the theory to become practical, for the rhetoric to become real. Otherwise, it's like the person whose arrows are going in different directions. Ideas are there, but nothing becomes practical. Because there's no focus. So I think focus is a part of commitment, and that then leads to making the promise or making the idea concrete and bringing it into real life.
Wonderful, beautiful corollaries from rhetoric to real. And also, I think you nicely touched upon that focus is important for commitment and success. So I think we had Dr. Ashok Mehta, but for some reason he's joining from Madhuban. So there is some problem with his internet, I guess. He suddenly can't be seen now. And I'll request Sister Claudia now to please propose the vote of thanks. Yeah, over to you.
Shanti Yogesh, was very nice to hear you talk about this commitment. I think you really finalize what we need to understand and then be focused on it. So you brought all those points very easy to realize and to see with our eyes what is we need to do in order to become more committed with whatever we think, and even with ourselves too, to go inside and really ask the self, what do I want for my life? I think it was very nice and clear the way how you talk, and it's so important. I was looking forward to hear from you, actually, because I know you are very committed. The other ones were very committed too, but I was looking forward to hear from you, and was really fill up what my expectation was about what I could get from you today. So thank you very much for that. And thank you in the name of everyone. I'm sure that everyone really enjoyed today. Thank you.
Thanks for the chance. Thank you.
We will give you a chance more often to come. Hope you can commit ourselves in future as well later. I'm sure we'll just wait for the divine drama plan, but thanks so much. And I'll just quickly do the announcements where you can take us then in a deep meditation mode for 10 minutes. I'll just do the announcements, share the screen. Oh, again, it's a bit stuck. Sorry, I'll just have to redo it. Yeah, so as all of you know, today we are celebrating the World Youth Skills Day. And all of us are very young at heart, I must say, practicing Raj Yoga. So let me go further with the announcements again on this very day. So let's go further into the next value. I think a few people have touched in the workshop about dedication, very closely related to commitment and loyalty and trust, and even sacrifice, which Brother Yogesh mentioned. So we have a very dedicated soul, respected Asha Didi, joining all the way from Om Shanti Retreat Center. I mean, she's covered a lot of other, I remember DDs, determination, discipline. She was the one who had covered that, and dedication. I mean, I really don't remember when I think of dedication another soul, and she's another expert. Again, the same time next Saturday, 8 p.m. She'll be doing a solo talk, so please don't miss it. And followed by that, then we have the workshop as we are having today on dedication. And this is our new speaker, Sister Sonia Olsen from Denmark. Again, a beautiful speaker, a senior Rajyogi from Denmark. And she also does a lot of work for climate change. She and Brother Golo, along with Sister Jayanti, are involved in this project. And she's joining us for the first time. So please also make sure that you don't miss this workshop the week after that, Saturday, 29 July. And as always, we finish the month with the value. We do the silence retreat on that. So many of you do join. So you can still join again the last Saturday, 29 July for West Coast time. It's 8 to 10 p.m. For India, it's early, not early, but morning, 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. Silence retreat on dedication. And I also forgot to mention that this month of July, as we celebrated the month of June, whom we fondly call Mama, the first administrative head of Brahma Kumaris. So this month is dedicated, actually, this episode of dedication goes to Didi Manmohini, who was also fondly called the Didi. Didi of the Brahma Kumaris officially is only one Didi, actually Didi Manmohini. And she was also one of those dedicated souls who really was called as the controller of the organization, not in a very negative way, the controller who looked after the administrative capabilities to such a great deal. And she was one of those beautiful souls. She left the mortal body on 27th of July. So we'll be sort of dedicating that episode of dedication to her. So please don't miss that. And this is our elegant calendar, which we always send you all in the emails. Thanks to Sister Kosha for that. You can reach out to us on our emails, valuesforlifeseries@gmail.com and the Vancouver email at ca.brahmakumaris.org. These are our websites. And all these episodes and the workshops, you can find out on the links which are mentioned here. And you can just simply type in YouTube as well, you'll find it out, all of them. So with this, I'll just stop sharing the screen now, and we'll be going in this deep meditation experience. I would request all of you all to just feel the experience of this, and will you do some commentary, Brother Yogesh? That should be fine. And you want to play some music as well, or you want me to?
Yeah, maybe you could. Will you be showing some image on the screen, or how would you do it?
No, I'll just show your drishti, and then you can maybe share the music audio from your. Is it okay? Because if you share the audio from your side, it doesn't get cut. Otherwise, there's a lot of disturbance usually. If that's fine.
Yeah, maybe I'll just do it without music.
Without, sure.
If that's okay.
Yeah, that's sure. Perfect.
Okay, so let's just sit with our back straight if possible. Just in a position of alertness. So we spend a few minutes just to be with myself. I'm aware the world outside of me is the world of sound, the world of movement. It is the world of action and of doing. And I cannot control the world outside. But there is also a world inside me. The world of my thoughts and of my feelings and my experiences. The world inside is in my own hands. So let me choose the thoughts I wish to create. And I start with the first truth. I ask myself, who am I? Who am I behind the roles I play every day? Who am I behind the labels that I carry? Who am I behind the masks I wear? There is more to me than what I do and what I have. And even when I look in the mirror, I see the reflection of my face, my body. But there is more to me than simply this. So I bring my attention to my seat of consciousness, the place where the energy of thought is generated. I come to the forehead, to the center of the forehead, and I am aware of myself as this wonderful, radiant, living star of peaceful light. This is I, the eternal self. This is I, the spiritual energy. I am this living diamond of peaceful light. I am eternal. I am light. I am peace. I am eternal. I am light. I am peace. Let me be with these thoughts and experience the profound feeling of well-being and freedom which comes by remembering the first truth. I choose to live with this first truth. Eternal light, peace, I am free. Om.
Thank you so much, Brother Yogesh. And I think I would request Dr. Ashok Mehta to say a few words. He's there with us. And Sister Anu, if I can just request in the meantime to take the photograph because I'm getting messages. They are committed
I'm
to the.
also getting. So everybody can switch on their video. Let's take the photo, then we'll hear the final words from Dr. Mehta. Everyone, you can switch on your video and let's make this moment of commitment memorable. Few people switching on their videos, then hold on. Okay.
Thank you. So
Yeah,
I'll just
thank you.
like to say a few closing words before we depart. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Yogesh Bhai. As usual, you're outstanding. You're almost formula for everything. The commitment, the loyalty, the focus. I think, as a matter of fact, I found that probably you were showing a solution to me. I often had that feeling of mind running up and down and all around. I think that strong arrow you have shown has always been there. And I think I should follow that. Thank you very much, Yogesh Bhai. You have been excellent, outstanding, loving, focused, committed in whatever you do. Amazing. Thank you very much. I missed some part. I missed some part of it, but amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your blessings.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mehta. And thanks to all of you. And we'll meet next week. Thank you so much.
Okay.